Hello, Sifu John Cosma again from Yin Yang Gemini. Just going to have a brief thing about kind of how to hold palm, or empty hand, and a little bit about structure from the hand, especially if we're talking about internals, Taijiquan, Xingyi, Bagua, things like that. There's almost, it can lead easily into discussion. We're talking about like yin yang theory. Too little, nothing's there, no purpose. Even in Qigong, there's no purpose to it, having it just complete, overdone, wet noodle, no purpose to it whatsoever. Too, also no good. At the very least, there's a ton of tension, not only in the muscles, in your hands, but that goes all the way up through the arm, even into the mind and with the breathing. Too much tension separates those different points. Even if it's just tension in the hand, that automatically creates tension into the forearm. And so now, even if it's relaxed in through bicep, tricep, deltoid, in through here, you're now separating from the elbow down into something other, not the incorporated whole unit. So what we want basically, as we sit the palm, they call this sitting the palm, where the fingers are up, the wrist is in like this, so the hand is vertical even though you have this angle here with the arm, and as you notice, elbow's down. Elbow starts coming up, tension into the shoulder, again, separating this thing out. There's a difference between here and here. So you can have up and push, or have that pung, that ward-off energy, versus here, where you're tension with the elbow. So in a normal palm, and this is really big coming from like Yang style Taiji, but we'll hold this with Santi as well for Xingyi, or the like green dragon palms. You got Sun style, Cheng style. Green dragon stretches his claws in with the Bagua as well. You know, you can see this even with Chen and any of the internals. You have this basic idea. So this, no good. Any sort of this, we don't want like the Elvis finger or some sort of eagle claw sort of thing. No good for internals. No good for internal. Other stuff, shape thingies, okay. Even some of the Qigong we might have, like that spear finger, you know, leopard fist you have in through here. Straighten those out a little bit. Stuff like that. Internal palm, basics. We're talking about sitting the palm. So you have this nice angle, and then the palm sits. So the fingers are up. Now, again, about the fingers, we don't want bent. We don't want tense. We want nice in between. Now, from my teacher and his teachers, what you'll see is this index finger, almost like we're kind of focusing here on this sort of J or L, depending upon which one you have. That's kind of sight. It's almost like a sight coming through. Grandmaster Hu used to also talk about it. If your wrist is shoulder height, your fingers should be eye height, and in front of you in such a way where it almost looks like you're seeing through them. He's called them almost making them look like a ghost. So if they're in front of one eye, it almost looks like you can see through them. So that's kind of the height that you want. But also look at the fingers. Not tense, not but not bleh either. And this is part of the problems you see with a lot of Tai Chi people. Either they get real, yeah, I'm going to do Tai Chi, like that, and they're all like, yeah, Tai Chi's awesome, bleh, bleh, bleh. Or you get like the real sort of, oh, feel the happy butterflies as we run, and I learned Tai Chi in a weekend course, and I can teach everyone it now. It's both garbage. Also, if you have an internals Tai Chi Qigong teacher, and their response, oh, where'd you learn everything? And they learned it in a weekend course, run. They don't know what they're talking about. I don't want to disparage anyone or anyone's trying to make a living, but if you want Tai Chi and all they learn from like a weekend course or a 6-week seminar and that's it, and they're teaching from that, they don't know what they're talking about. They say internals take a minimum of 10 years to be able to really scratch the surface and start understanding it. If you have someone who's a teacher after only a weekend course or a few weeks, or they're fitness instructors and then they just sort of saw something on a tape, it's not Taiji, it's not correct. you might actually end up doing more harm to yourself than good. Sun Lutang specifically says that with the Xingyi, in the Xingyi books, if you don't practice it with appropriate energy, you're going to end up harming the organs you're trying to help. So, it goes back to something I've talked about before about your teachers. But so you want that Goldilocks principle. There's a little bit of a focus here where it's a little straight. It's not separated out of the hand. These fingers, there's a little to them, but they're not bent. They're not locked in between. And you can focus kind of here as you go, and it keeps energy in. You want to be empty of tension, full of intent. And that intent has to run all the way through the fingers. You know, if we play, and if you think about touching the opponent, it goes from the shoulder, down through the muscle, into the elbow, down the forearm, through the wrist, pad of the hand, and out the fingers. All that, the entire thing has to be connected as you go, even as you're standing out here, or like brush knee or something like that. So, not dead, not trunks in between, a little bit of an extra you'll see here on some people. I learned this from my teacher and his teachers and etc. And it helps me to make sure that I'm not too dead, and it helps me make sure I can kind of keep this relaxed without being tense. So that's the basic general shape. And if you notice, there's a little kind of cup, a little bit of a hollow here with the palm. You kind of want that. You don't want to cut it off, and tension will cut off that too. And your meridians go all the way through the body and out the fingers and all that sort of stuff. So all this, what you do with the hand and everything can still affect everything else if we're talking about meridians and whole body unity and health. So just sitting the palm, you've got that little kind of suction cuppy thing too. And one of the things I'll do is I'll show in classes, you can put the hand up to the person, and if you just lay it on there, it's going to have that little space. It still has that little suction cup because you haven't pressed it in. But when you send, and you send out whole body, from the bottom of the heel, up through the leg, transfers through your center, your dantian, and then out through the body, through the whole arm, even that short jing, that short burst. You know, Bruce Lee's kind of 1-inch punch sort of thing. Boom! Becomes explosive through. You get the fudging, the explosive energy, and you can send through or in. Be careful with in. Careful with either one of them, but be very, very careful with in. And it can kind of, boom, whole body from the back heel, pop. So you get that almost suction cup thing and sends through that. So you lay on, boom, come through. You're not going to have it. You just keep that open hand and no good. You're just kind of like really tensely trying to like slap the person. No good. This kind of goes. Look at you like 25-pound pug that would look at you and go, what the hell was that? No. Empty of tension, full of energy, and out. That Goldilocks kind of ratio of not too tense, not too relaxed. So stay relaxed, but not to the point where you're just sort of an ineffectual, limp bleh. So kind of basic hand, as you can see, kind of from the different angles of the palm as we go. And also you hold it like this, it's way easier to hold. So if you're holding like Santi, you're doing standing training, you know, even here, coming in if you're doing like, you do your opening, and hold that for your standing. Any of the other kind of standing Bagua, you're walking Bagua circles, you're walking like a ton of circles. Sometimes I'll do like, throughout the day, I'll count it up and like I'm gonna get like 1,000 in through the day. That gets really wearing for you for a while. And the more relaxed and the more empty of tension, full of intent and energy that you have, the easier it is to keep those up. Even if you're doing, you know, doing this, the palms are in, but same basic, it's not sitting, the palm, but still basic thing. I'm not here. I'm not holding like this. Nice in between. You can feel that going through. There's almost like a Pilates ball kind of feeling you have in through there. And you inflate. That same thing. You have energy but not tension. You do any of like the Yichuan sort of postures in through that, or holding any of the other postures, or even as you're playing. You play for a long time, play for like an hour or so, 2.5 hours, continuously, anything like that, it gets tiring. So you want to still be efficient. How can you be efficient? Empty of tension, full of energy, even out through the fingers. So, I'm John again, Yin Yang Gemini. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Have a good night.